They're not just grooming your kids sexually. They're grooming these kids to be good little communists.
This morning, some video from a recent CCSD board meeting now going viral on social media and also making some national headlines. A parent addressing the school board claiming that her 15-year-old daughter was giving an assignment that turned out to have some vulgar reading to it.
Yes, so as of this morning, that video has now received more than 1 million views, making its way across social media. And reporter Alyssa Bethencourt now live in studio. And Alyssa, you've learned that CCSD has now opened an investigation into this incident that happened at school.
Yeah, Kalina, it has, and it all started with an assignment given to that CCSD student. Her mother says she was required to memorize pornographic content and then recite it in front of the entire class. When Kendra Evans took the podium and started reading the material, CCSD board members stopped the public comment over the explicit language. Now, we do have that video for you right now. Take a listen to what unfolded.
I ask you simply, this is a public meeting. I ask for decorum, and I'm asking Dr. Jara, thank you so much. Dr. Jara?
If you don't want me to read it to you, what was that like for my 15-year-old daughter to have to memorize pornographic material and memorize it and
Madam President, members of the board staffs on this, we can have the region superintendent speak.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jara. It seems like you may have some concerns, and while we're not allowed to engage back and forth in a dialogue, we would absolutely like to make sure that your concerns are addressed.
Now you can see in the video, it does appear that Evans's mic was temporarily turned off. She was then allowed to continue addressing the school board, saying that she didn't want the teacher fired, but hopes that by addressing the matter, the problem won't happen again. CCSD tweeted they are investigating the material in question, and they say it was written by a student. Officials also noted they do not comment on individual employee or personnel issues, and all policies and procedures are being followed. Reporting live in studio, I'm Alyssa Bethencourt.
You know you're in a cult if 1. You believe you are what your imagination says you are. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 6. You believe reality isn't real. Delusional, characterized by or holding false beliefs or judgments about external reality that are held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, typically as a symptom of a mental condition. You know you're in a cult if 10. Thanks to Jamie Lee Curtis, who didn't know how many Oscars she'd won, them can't count. You know you're in a cult if 11. You will cry in protest to take a real black woman off a syrup bottle and a Quaker off a box of oats named Quaker Oats, only to put a fake white woman on a beer can. All while saying, I can't believe they're so upset over a beer can. Bud Light parent Anheuser-Busch's stock has lost $27 billion over Dylan Mulvaney. You know you're in a cult if 18. Lost your shit over To Kill a Mockingbird and Huckleberry Finn but are screaming about banning books with gay sex and masturbation in school libraries. You know you're in a cult if 20. Will lie even with irrefutable evidence. You know you're in a cult if 21. Being so filled with hate, you will groom, mutilate, and murder your own children, all while calling your opposition fascists. You know you're in a cult if 25. Will refer to a biology book as right-wing propaganda. You know you're in a cult if 26. Will lose your shit if someone actually uses proper English, instead of your made-up pronouns. You know you're in a cult if 32. Are the same people who say you can't indoctrinate kids to be gay with a book or a drag show, but continually accuse the church of doing that very thing. Although religion isn't taught in schools, and you're not forced to go to church. You know you're in a cult if 33. When someone is simply talking science and common sense, you will try to bring religion into it. Well, you know the church. Well then, don't go to church. It's not against the law. Not going to school is. You know you're in a cult if. 34. Will use unrelated behavior to justify their sick, grooming behavior. You know you're in a cult if. 39. Will lose your shit when someone says you're in a woke cult, and to prove you're not, you do the things on this list over and over and over. You know you're in a cult if. 40. Will accuse your opposition of that which you are guilty. You know you're in a cult if. 46. Consider chemically castrating a pedophile horrible and inhumane, but chemically castrating a child just dandy.